Yeah, this mic will be for you guys, and then there'll be a mic being passed around. Okay, who would like to ask a question? Eric.
I'm so happy to hear such important points brought up in everybody's speeches. I kind of want to target this question towards the first slate that kind of spoke. You guys talk about a lot of issues in the campus, but what I want to kind of address is what experience you have in USG to kind of understand and resolve those issues, considering that you guys are coming from smaller club backgrounds. I'm not trying to diminish your background, but I do want to kind of highlight that running USG is very different scale from running a smaller club. So that's my question to you.
It is a pleasure to be here before you guys. Thank you so much for bringing up your opinions. I'm a first-year student, and I want to be straight up and transparent with you guys that, sure, I may not be an incumbent, I may not have gathered a lot of experience within USG, but I bring about passion, I bring about focus, and straight experience being a part of clubs, having issues with allocating funds, and just witnessing and hearing from my other peers how it's hard to mitigate a couple of the things that we, often see when we feel that USG isn't quite listening to us.
I would also love to add, once again, thank you guys so much for being here. It's an honor to speak in front of you guys, and I'm really happy that you guys are asking questions because we do want to address them, we do want to talk to you. We expect to work with you guys in the future, so there's no sort of bad blood between any of us. When it comes to experience, I understand, once again, I'm also a freshman. I may not be an incumbent, I may not have that previous experience, but many of us who are running have been previously involved with our student governments back in high school. We have been involved with campus life, and I am very proud to say that our president, who's not here today, Ryan Rad, he's actually part of Macaulay's Scholars Council, so he's very familiar with the system. He's not completely unique to it. Can we get a round of applause for him? He couldn't make it with us today, but he's someone who I can personally say he's a great leader. He's someone who definitely has done his homework, would know what he's doing, and like Geraldine said, a lot of us are coming here with passion, and what we want is a change for the better. And I believe where we lack for experience, we can definitely make up with drive. Thank you.
Hi everyone. I love the energy, I love the enthusiasm, the compassion. Just a little background, I was VP of Finance prior to being USG president. So a lot of background in USG, so it's really nice seeing two Slates going head to head in debate. Core focus of this campaign with both of you guys that we focus on is the club and club funding, right? To understand the club funding procedure, it takes a lot of time. There's a lot that plays into it. We're hearing a lot of things about, like, okay, we're going to remove stipends, we're going to increase club budgets, and then we hear on the other side of the scale, oh, clubs haven't even used 75% of their budget, right? That's a huge discrepancy where one is saying club needs more money, more money, more money. USG is a failure because your clubs don't have money. And then USG, as a response, we're saying clubs don't even use the budget that we allocated to them, right? So my question to you guys is, how are you going to address that discrepancy where in USG we're saying, because I was in USG in the past, our whole advocacy has always been, we support the clubs, we give them the money that they need, they never use up that money, right? So club have enough money, they just haven't been using it or haven't been going through a proper procedures to use the money that's been allocated to them, right? And you guys were coming in as a new slate were saying, hey, we're going to remove stipends so we can give that money to clubs, right? So how are we going to address that discrepancy between the student body who feels that we're not getting enough funding versus USG who's saying, okay, there's more than enough money, you guys are just not using it?
Very valid points here. We definitely trust your experience, and we're hearing you. I'll go and address one point that you made with the stipends. We want to see change in the campus, not change in our pockets. And we want to allocate those funds to our community, because in allocating those funds to our community, we are feeling the impact of a collective community.
I would also love to continue. Thank you once again for your question. And it's really nice to know, we're getting questions from people who have previously served on USG, so you guys definitely know what you're talking about. I completely understand that it definitely seems contradictory at first, that they're saying that, the money that is being allocated is not once again, City Cast, a lot of us are made up of people from smaller clubs. We are talking from experience. We're talking from what our friends are hearing. I completely understand that USG may have a different perspective, but we're coming from the perspective of the student body. And I do believe our perspective is just as valuable as the USG's perspective. We believe that the USG should reflect the needs of the student body. And I completely understand that on USG's end, it may not seem like there's enough funds being used, but then I also feel like it should be upon the responsibility of the USG to understand, hey, why aren't these funds being fully used? And so if these funds aren't being fully used, why are we still getting questions on we're not getting enough funding? There's clearly a discrepancy, and there should have been more communication on USG's end to figure out where this discrepancy is coming from. We're just talking because we have felt the effects of this discrepancy.
That is one very, very valid idea. I just want to point out, like I said earlier in my speech, I don't know if you guys heard it, we do have a video breakdown of how the whole budget system works and how you do everything. We have office hours, we have feedback. We were wondering if clubs are complaining about why there isn't enough budgeting. Meanwhile, they're not using the budget that we have allocated for them when they're asking for more. We were like, okay, what's going on? So our amazing VP of Finance made a whole breakdown video to explain the process to everyone so they understand how it works. I also want to point out to the topic of stipends, we have, like I mentioned, amazing senators that you guys also have, that we also currently have in USG and our cabinet. They work tirelessly every single day for all the events and all the initiatives that USG has. They deserve to be paid for that. A lot of these people, because of all the effort they put into USG, which is very much needed, they're not able to have a job outside of USG. They're not able to have a job on campus or outside of campus. We never know if people need this money. This is kind of them being paid for their efforts. I just want to point that out. People deserve to be paid for what they put on the table, and they have been putting a lot on the table.
Thank you so much. We're not done. I just want to say I love the passion for you guys, but this is not a debate. I would also like that the students themselves that are here to ask questions before the slates ask each other. Also, if the question is big enough, I'm opening the full panel to answer. But yeah, I would love for the students to ask first before the slates. I know you guys this is very important for everyone, and I understand and appreciate that. But I would love that the students or the media board that's representing the students to ask questions first. So I have a question from a student, and then I'll come back to you guys.
Just to clarify, I am a student.
All right.
No, he's not running for USG. He's not part of USG.
No, I'm talking about like the other side. Yeah, you're good.
Hi, I have a question to anyone.
Hi!
I'm just curious, and especially for those coming in for the first time and those with experience, and also for our non-USG members, how are you guys planning to integrate communication between students and yourselves? For example, myself, I'm a commuter student, so a lot of times the majority of people aren't paying attention to what's going on. So how do you feel as a candidate and somebody trying to get students to understand CCNY issues, CUNY issues? What are some things that you want to do to grab their attention other than like events and meetings?
Okay, so this is open for the full panel.
Hello. Okay. Hi guys. Thank you so much for your question. So as you guys know, I'm running to be a student ombudsperson, and a big thing that I've been thinking about and would love to take into this upcoming year is your exact question: how can we increase transparency? I touched on this when I spoke about looking forward to working with whoever the future VP of Student and Public Affairs are. I'm looking forward to definitely utilizing the USG Instagram page a lot more. I think like a weekly post of events we're doing and meetings when everything is going. If there was a publicized schedule of what days we're talking about the budget versus what days we're talking about event planning would be super great if the student body and club leaders were in the know about it so that they could show up. I think if whoever's running the USG Instagram page could collaborate with maybe the Student Life at CCNY page to get more of those out. I know that we're always on our phones, essentially, at least I can speak for me, I'm always on my phone, and I find out a lot of information about things going on campus or at other campuses through that, and I think that's one avenue that would be really helpful.
Great, thank you so much. Any students on this side?
Are you okay for more responses from the panel, or? Are we okay for more responses from the panel?
If you have more to add, go ahead.
I think it's definitely a big thing from being one member of USG ombudsperson and now a NIPER. I think a big thing, like Sydney said, of course, with collaboration groups. NIPER has a network of over 1,000 students on campus that we do have that we have reached with, from alumni to also current students in different years, different majors, different divisions, right? I think a big thing, of course, I know is one thing that we tried to do when I was in USG was, of course, having the town hall. And that was brought to the table by our former EP last year. Probably doing that, of course, with also the ombudsperson speaking on issues that she wants addressed. The NIPER board reps, of course, would do the same thing as well to actually meet with the students. And also, I think, too, of course, like bringing up the fact that club members also are in need of information also. If there was, like, say, a council of boards to meet at least quarterly within the year to go over initiatives they want done as leaders themselves too.
Great, thank you so much. All right, we have another question over here.
Hello, hi. I wanted to ask, outside of like the club structure and obviously outside of like kind of like what USG has been talking about for the past 3 minutes, I wanted to ask about your advocacy and how you would advocate for kind of unseen and unheard students, kind of like the issues that they're facing and kind of how you guys would go about, I guess, standing up for students when, you know, they don't really, I guess, voice their issues, kind of like I was thinking infrastructure, thinking about grants and scholarships, things that are happening with funding, federal funding, like what do you guys do about those kinds of issues that at a large affect all of the student body and not just, you know, club members and kind of media board members or people inside of like the USG bubble?
Thank you so much for bringing up that question. I'd like to point out, I want to say 2 things. Number one, USG is in very close contact and relationship with the Gender and Resources Office, as well as Health and Wellness, as well as Athletics. So this is a large variety of students that we are able to reach. Whenever a concern is brought up, USG always tries to, number one, advocate whatever posters are going around about techniques and like processes, everything that you have to go through when something happens to you, when you feel uncomfortable by something, when a violation has happened towards you. USG is a big advocate for that, and we are in very close collaboration with that office. Something that USG is trying to do is also when a student is in violation of a disciplinary code and he has to go in front of a disciplinary committee, USG or other students are not present during those meetings, so it's more of a one-on-one meeting with the student that is quote-unquote at fault and someone from administration, which we believe to not be fair. That is something that we are in the process of trying to fix, so being able to integrate student government, be a representative from student government within that meeting, so the student who might feel scared to speak up for themselves in that meeting has the option to choose to have a peer present. So that is one of the things that we're trying to do. Omar, do you have something that you want to bring up, or we can pass it to the other slate? Okay.
Thank you so much for your question. This was definitely something that we want to bring to attention. We've been doing our research, not only focusing on issues that pertain solely to CCNY, but also to stretch out and focus on a whole CUNY community. We saw that Hunters USG hosts an assembly for students to specifically voice their concerns, specifically address certain issues that they come across on campus, and we wanted to bring that and introduce that to our campus, and hopefully collaborate with other CUNY colleges, because we are a commuter school, and we need to be part of a greater community that advocates for all, because in advocating for others, you advocate for yourself. Thank you.
And I just wanted to add, you've mentioned that like, oh, how are we going to work together to make sure that these causes can be heard. I would just like to say that every person that's running with me on CityCast, we have all been selected because we were found to be people that were sociable, communicated. We made sure that we had a diverse range of people, from Seek to Sophie Davis to the architecture school to basically every part of the school you can imagine. We wanted to make sure that we had actual students who were on campus, part of different groups on campus, so we could figure out from every corner what's going on, what's being unheard, what complaints do we have. We want to make sure that the people who are involved are active in campus life so they can understand what do you feel like is being unheard so they can bring that to our attention. I just wanted to put it out there that we are very dedicated towards making sure that anything you feel is unheard, that we have people who are able to hear that and reach out and make sure USG feels a little bit less further away, distant and scary, and more personal, someone you can actually approach.
Thank you so much. All right, I just want to bring to everyone's attention that
Sorry,
we have...
just one more thing. I just want to say we are also actual students, just to put that out there. We are also actual students. We go here, we're active on campus, like we're also actual students, real people, I promise.
All right, we have 3 more minutes. I just have a student question. I'm so sorry, I'm trying to get to everyone.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. My name is Shafi. So my question is for the second slate. You guys mentioned that clubs should request before 6 weeks. So how is it fair to require clubs to submit a request 6 weeks advance in a 16-week semester, and then there's a first come, first served system? When that already favors club that knows the process, makes it harder for clubs trying to plan multiple events in a semester, and forces clubs to work, and also there's a system of clubs they are required to work with a specific vendor list which may not actually fit their actual needs.
I want to say, number one, the 6-week deadline is not set by USG. Like I mentioned before, if you need clarity on how the process works, we have a breakdown video and you can always reach out to Omar. The 6-week deadline is because Student Life needs to process those requests. Number two, for USG events, we also have a 6-week deadline that we have to submit everything for. So what is out there for clubs to follow is also there for USG to follow. Omar.
Yeah, and it's a great point. Number one, like Casey said, 1 week is USG funding. That's all that 1 week that we take, that's all the processing that USG does on that end. The rest of the 5 weeks is getting vendors into the system. As we know, the CUNY First system is quite inefficient. Unfortunately, that's something that I often struggle with, that's what the students have to struggle with. What we have to work with is trying to optimize that system. So to do that, we request for clubs to request 6 weeks in advance, because it gets very difficult for anything to get approved with anything less than that time.
Great, thank you so much. We have one more question from the media board, and then I'll come to the forward of the room.
Hello, my name is Nelson Aquino. I'm speaking on behalf of the media board. We gathered some questions just through some different sources online and just interacting with some students. And as you guys know, one of the biggest topics tonight is the question of club funding and where can people get access to these resources. Now, as you guys have just said, and this is more specific towards USG, one campus, thank you. Specifically towards you guys, as you have mentioned that you are very open to conversing with people in clubs and them reaching out to you, any information regarding club funding. Is there anywhere where they can have access to these resources, where let's say if they go onto the USG's Instagram page, or if they have a post or something, where they can see this and know that that's where they have to go to reach out to you guys, or to see the video where you can see the detailed breakdown?
Yeah, 100%. So we've addressed that the procurement instructions are actually on the Instagram in the link. If you go to the USG Instagram, in our link we have a link tree. At the very bottom is the procurement instructions, and we posted that on our story, as well as we sent out our last email, if I'm not mistaken. The speaker, the Senate will correct me if I'm not wrong. So all the instructions, along with the video, along with all the documentation with all the proper working links are attached there. As well, we also have town halls to address any concerns that you guys have with USG, whether that be club funding or anything else. That's always an option. I also do hold meetings at the beginning of every semester for all club leaders, basically a finance workshop going through all the procurement instructions, what I'm looking for, what is usually denied, what is usually pending, what vendors are in the system. We've also worked with one of the things that I'm most proud of as the VP of Finance this semester is with the help of Speaker of the Senate Mansour, we've created a list of vendors that students can actually use, an approved vendor list. Obviously that list is not official, it is tentative because CUNY First is very unpredictable, but that's the one thing that I would say regarding that.
Great, thank you. We'll do the last 2 questions of the night, so I'll come to this side and then I'll come to this side. So, we'll have a question here. It's one question. Sorry. Okay.
This question is directed at if stipends are meant to compensate work, especially power concentrated with yourselves, how do you justify the compensation when multiple student clubs are still unable to receive at events?
Can you repeat the second part of your question?
How do you justify that compensation when multiple student clubs funds are still unable to receive adequate funding for mandatory events?
Yeah, so like I said, the club funding is a first come, first served basis. If a club is not receiving funding, and we haven't used up all the funding, like I said, it's under 75% of total club funding. If a club is not receiving funding, there's a good chance that they're not looking at the instructions in the proper way, they're not submitting forms in a way that needs to be submitted, they're not submitting before deadlines. I know someone mentioned previously that the Model UN submitted something. I did actually check that out because I wanted to make sure that there was not an inefficiency on my end. That was submitted on March 18th compared to the deadline that we sent out to all club leaders, which was March 16th. And that was an email blast sent out to all club leaders.
I also want to say USG is not only here to provide club funding. We have different committees that are not the finance committee, and there are senators in those committees who deserve to get paid for their work. Not everything is revolving finance, although this has kind of turned into like a USG finance town hall coup meeting situation, but that's not all USG is about. So I would really appreciate if you guys could look into what USG does and everything that we have accomplished and everything that you guys should be doing if you're elected. Look into that, and then we can go more into why USG senators should be paid. Thank you.
Thank you guys. We have one last question for the night, and then we're wrapping up.
Hello everyone, my name is Shadley, I'm currently the USG president, and I also served last semester as well. This is a question for the person represented from the other slate. I know you guys mentioned that students usually feel unheard. So as far as I know, we hold town halls, we have feedback form, and we also do have office hours as well. And Omar, I know you guys had a lot of questions about funding as well. I've seen Omar have multiple one-on-one meeting with club leaders as well. How would you guys suggest we make the students feel heard when we have these options? Thank you.
Do you want to answer that? Do I get a mic? Up here?
You can have mine. I'll keep it.
Thank you.
So city council, we're all in a bunch of clubs, and we know the process is often alienating. And my question to you is, why does policy have to be distant? Why do we just see recognized names through emails? Why can't we have one-on-one conversations with you? You are people, I want to get to know you, you want to get to know us. That should be the predicator of your whole slate too. I understand that you guys are very hard workers as well. I'm not discrediting you, but I do often hear from friends of mine, e-board members, that oftentimes that requests are denied, forms are not kept up with, emails are not replied to. Often this feels alienating, I do agree. So I'm not here to put in my own biases, I'm only here to represent what I've been hearing. Thank you.
What would you do differently?
So what I would do differently is hold one-on-one meetings with e-board members.
That is what office hours are. And that is what town hall.
I'm so sorry, guys. This has been great. Thank you. Congratulations to everyone. The night is over. Congratulations to